my new book is called A Death in Scarlet. It features a detective in the 1890s Victorian England, and the detective's gay, and he's struggling with the fact his sexuality is illegal, and people are out to get him because of it. And he's also investigating a very serious murder of a young woman called Scarlett. It's been, the readers who have read it so far, one of them said it's a cross between Tipping the Velvet meets The Shining and Sherlock Holmes. And the reviews back from my readers have been really positive. I always send a book out first, a PDF to them, to different people, and they're very genuine. Sometimes they say it's utter rubbish. And so I decided, after a long gap in publishing due to ill health and a divorce, I decided to try and get back into publishing. And I found the gates locked. It's difficult getting past the secretary. Well, it's been impossible to get past the secretaries. And it's just terrible, considering that I've had #1 New York Times bestseller. I've had bestsellers here in the UK as well. My first book, Shadowmancer, featured a black hero, a black African boy called Rafa. And that was back in 2003 and published by Faber and Faber. And that did incredibly well. And it also highlighted the need to have diverse characters in literature, especially in children's literature.
But you're feeling...
But this time round...
I just want to be clear. You think what's happened, and maybe they've actually said this to you, is that there isn't the market now for authors who are middle-aged white blokes.
Well, I was reading an article over the weekend which said that there's a higher percentage of female authors being published than male authors. And all you have to do is just put an internet search in about woke publishing, and you'll see stories coming from around the world about how publishers are now concentrating on LGBTQ issues, diversity issues, disability issues, rather than just the good old-fashioned story. And as a white middle-class male, I do feel discriminated against. But thankfully, due to LinkedIn, I put a message out on LinkedIn saying I was looking for a publisher, and via a contact on LinkedIn, I got a message from a publisher just the other day, thankfully, saying they would be interested in looking at the work with a view to publishing it. But
good luck with that
to actually get through the gates.
Yeah, let me just ask Kate about that. So being discriminated against is the key issue here as a white, middle-aged or middle-class male.
Well, so we're talking, but I mean, you know, I haven't read your books, Graham, so I won't pass comment in any way on that. But you've had 24 published, so I feel it difficult to go. I mean, personally, I've had no books published, so I feel like, you know, are we really in a situation where we're saying, of course, it's difficult to get a book published? It's always been difficult to get a book published. I don't think that we're in a situation where it's now impossible for, you know, straight, white, middle-aged guys to get a book published, as in fact testified by the fact that you put one message on LinkedIn and now apparently you have got a publisher. So it wasn't all that difficult. And I feel like if you look at the history of books which have been published, they are overwhelmingly by straight, white, middle-aged, middle-class men. And, you know, is it unreasonable that other people are getting more of a look in now? If publishers are looking to redress that balance and include a wider range of voices, and if readers are keen to hear from a wider range of voices, then I think, great, you mentioned that there are more women getting books published than men these days. There are also more women reading books. Women have for a long time been the majority of book readers, and if that's what they want to read, then I don't think that publishers are in it to kind of make a big political point. They're in there to say, what do people want to read? Let's get out
Graham
and find
come
those
back in.
things.
Yeah.
Let me just pull you up on that. What you need to do is go from the viewpoint of a writer, go online and search publishing and publishers, and you'll get this. Usually, you'll get the same front page that we are looking for voices from, and then they will outline where they're looking the voices from. And this is where they're directing publishing at this moment in time. They're not just saying we're looking for voices from everybody. They're looking for specific voices from different types of people. And yes, that's very good, because I believe there needs to be more publishing for LGBTQ works and diversity works. You know, I've done it myself, you know, and don't call me a straight middle-class male, by the way. My life is very diverse in itself. And we need to have writers of diversity out there, but we also need the gates of publishing to be opened on an equal basis, and the work should be valued.
Let me just hang on. I'm just moving it along. I must hear from Scarlett here. What do you think, Scarlett, about what Graham's run into here?
I mean, I think it's important that we have publishers that are diverse to tell different stories. It is very important. For me, it gets to a point where we can go too far one way. And I speak across media, speak across myself in the industry. And yes, we do need to address the issue of diversity, but also we can go so far that we're only then employing, for example, I'm going to speak about my own experience, people of colour, that then might not really be that good at their job, but because we have to tick a box, they then get employed. And I think that that's not right. So when it comes to writing books and submitting books and publishing books, I don't know if there's a way that there can be blind submissions, so actually we're just reading the story itself. We don't know specifically at that time who the author is, who's written it, what they look like, where they're from, you know, and then we can go by what the book is saying. Is the book a good book? Yes, no, let's publish it. Yes, it is. OK, who's written this book?
Yeah.
And do it that way.